is an exclusive presentation of the Yes Network.
The New York Yankees, world champions, team of the decade, most successful franchise of the century.
When you put on the Yankee pinstripes, something definitely different happens to you.
And the Yankees have won the pennant.
He wins the batting crown.
He did it! He did it!
Team of the century. There's no other team in any other sport that can say that.
Oh, hang on!
We will never see this again.
It is the third perfect game in Yankee Stadium history.
The New York Yankees are world. Your tokens ready.
They have done it again!
When we look back 5-10 years from now, a lot of people are going to be proud to be part of this team.
You can only feel the emotion and the pride being a part of this great franchise.
See ya! See ya!
It can't be like this anywhere else.
We did it right here! We did it!
When catcher Thurman Munson perished in a plane crash in 1979, the Yankees felt a loss far greater than any they had ever encountered on the playing field. Hi, I'm John Sterling, and welcome to a special edition of Yankeeography, the history of the New York Yankees. Losing their captain was a tragic blow to the team, but the core from those championship years of 77 and 78 was still intact. And as the Yankees began the 80s, they had every reason to believe they could right the ship. While the days of the Bronx Zoo were now over, Billy Martin, who would eventually return 3 more times as Yankees manager, tallying a total of 5 times hired and 5 times fired by the boss, George Steinbrenner.
Tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy, it tastes great.
Less filling, George.
Billy,
Yeah, George.
you're fired.
Not again.
In 1980, Billy Martin would be replaced by a more reserved Dick Hauser, with hopes that a new personality would benefit both the team and its superstar.
He wasn't an excitable type of person like Billy. Dick was just a no-nonsense, let's get the job done serious type person. And I think that kind of helped Reggie.
It helped him to his best season ever in New York. Reggie tied Ben Ogilvy of the Brewers for the league lead with 41 home runs. He also hit 300 and finished second in the MVP voting to George Brett of the Royals, a team the Yankees had come to know only too well in the 70s.
Kansas City over in the American League became a great rivalry with the Yankees. There was some really, really great baseball being played at that time.
The Yankees had defeated the Royals in the 76, 77, and 78 playoffs. But in the 1980 championship series, Brett got his revenge.
It is gone! 3-run home run by George Brett, and Brett has taken the Royals and put them in front.
The image of Kansas City celebrating the pennant prompted the Yankees to pursue the market's biggest free agent.
Remember that number. You're going to see a lot of it.
But Dave Winfield and Reggie Jackson on the same team? According to Reggie, no problem.
I called him 3 times while he was a free agent and told him that it would be great to play with him, would be lovely to have him on the Yankees, and thought that he would really benefit by coming here. And I'm just looking forward to it and excited about it.
In a strike-shortened season, the 81 Yankees' first-place standing before the work stoppage qualified them to face the Milwaukee Brewers, the team that finished first after the strike, for the right to advance to the championship series. The Yankees slipped past Milwaukee and went on to face Billy Martin's A's in the League Championship Series, whom they rolled over in 3 straight.
And the Yankees have won the pennant.
In the 81 World Series, the Yankees once again faced a foe from their storied past. They won the first 2 games against the Dodgers, and at that point, no one gave Los Angeles much hope of stopping them. But when the series resumed on the West Coast, the Dodgers went on a tear and won 3 straight.
The Dodgers lead it 3 games to 2.
Once the series moved back to New York, the Dodgers had all the momentum.
The Dodgers are the 1981 champions of baseball.
I thought we had a much better team than them in '81. Maybe got a little overconfident, and they came back and beat us 4 in a row.
The Dodgers' stunning comeback led to a tumultuous offseason, with Reggie once again in the middle. And after 5 years with the Yankees, he was signed by the Angels. But losing Reggie was just the start of a decade of discourse. Throughout the 80s, the Yankees would endure a number of managerial changes, including a brief stint for Yankees legend Yogi Berra in '84 and '85. It would be some time before he returned. The Yankees were also struggling to find the right chemistry on the field.
Look at that play! Believe it! Look at that play!
On offense, the team was quite prolific, but that did not necessarily translate into glory.
We won a lot of games in New York. We really did. We had the best record of the 80s. We won more games than anybody. We didn't win more championships, but we certainly won more games.
During those chaotic times, you couldn't blame the Yankees for trying to gain any advantage they could. In a game against Kansas City in 1983, George Brett put the Royals ahead with a 9th-inning home run.
Deep to right field. Holy cow, I don't believe it. Home run for George Brett. And now the Royals have the 1-run lead.
But the Yankees claimed that the amount of pine tar on Brett's bat made it illegal.
Billy Martin and the Yankees want the bat.
I said, if they call me out for using too much pine tar, I'll run out there and I'll kill one of those SOBs. Talking about the umpires.
Oh, the Yankees win. He's out. Yes, Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And the team is back. It's one of the most unbelievable innings I have ever seen. And the Yankees have won the ball game 4-3.
That is the maddest human being that I've ever seen.
But League President Lee McPhail overturned the umpires. And after 25 days, play was resumed with the Royals, this time the winners. Through it all, the Yankees did give their fans reason to cheer. Like that scorching hot 4th of July in '83 against an arch rival, with Dave Righetti on the mound.
I had 9 or 10 strikeouts in the first, 3.5, 4 innings, so I had to back off if I was going to survive it because it was so hot.
But Rags overcame the heat and cooled off the Boston bats. In the 9th, he would face the heart of the order in his quest to reach the record books.
Wade Boggs, the batter.
And this is the toughest out in baseball.
I knew that coming up with 2 outs in the 9th inning, that if I got a hit, there was probably no way that I was going to get out of New York alive.
Dave Righetti on the threshold of making history here at Yankee Stadium.
And Righetti trying to get by. And he gets it! A no-hitter for Dave Righetti!
In 1984, young first baseman Don Mattingly and the veteran Dave Winfield waged an epic battle for the batting crown.
It was great intensity. To see the concentration, to sit back and watch both guys get locked in was incredible.
It was just 2 guys who were diligent at their trade. That's what attracted everybody to the stadium. And people just really enjoyed classic, good hitting and the competition on the same team.
The fact that this homegrown talent was taking on a high-priced free agent helped make Mattingly the sentimental favorite.
Dave established himself as a superstar in the league, and naturally I think a lot of people are for the underdog. They're for that young kid, ain't making no money yet. So it was a lot easier on me than I think it was on Dave, a lot more pressure on him.
On the last day of the season at Yankee Stadium, Mattingly trailed Winfield by 2 points, but a clutch 4-for-5 performance sealed it for the future captain.
That's got to be a base hit, and he wins the batting crown.
Mattingly became the first Yankees player to win the batting title since Mickey Mantle in 1956, and his .343 average was the highest for a Yankees left-hander since Lou Gehrig. Throughout this time, Mattingly was undoubtedly the team's most inspirational player.
Mattingly is unbelievable.
He might be the most revered athlete in New York history. He was the one shining light in a dark tunnel.
Although his team struggled, Mattingly always played to his full potential. Personal accolades simply followed.
Hitman once again comes through. Grand slam time for Don Mattingly.
An all
phases of what he meant to me and to the Yankees, he was just special.
Despite his brilliance, Mattingly's chronic back hampered his ability to play on a regular basis. And while his pain was symbolic of the team's struggles in the 80s, nothing hit harder than the tragic death of Billy Martin when the pickup truck in which he was riding spun off an upstate New York thruway on Christmas Day of 1989.
He was the ultimate warrior, so to speak. He laid it all out on the field.
He got consumed with something that cost him in the end his life, but in the very end, he was my friend as much as he was when we started.
Martin's death marked a bitter end to the decade. In the midst of one of their longest playoff droughts, Yankees fans could only wonder when these dark days would end. The decade of the 90s began for the Yankees much like the 80s had ended, with frustration. Never was this more evident than in a game pitched by hard luck Andy Hawkins. No need to imagine, for in the 8th inning of a scoreless game, 3 Yankees errors set a most unlikely scene.
It's a no-hitter, but 4 big runs scored, all earned.
I'll tell you what, it's really tough to throw a no-hitter and get beat. I don't know of too many instances where I've seen that happen.
In 1990, George Steinbrenner was suspended by the commissioner of Major League Baseball. His second suspension since purchasing the Yankees. Back in 1974, Commissioner Bowie Kuhn banned Steinbrenner from the game for 2 years for making illegal political contributions to President Richard Nixon's re-election campaign. The ban was later reduced to 15 months. The 1990 suspension came after Steinbrenner gathered information through a gambler for use in an ongoing disagreement with Yankee star player Dave Winfield, who was traded to the Angels in May of that season. For Steinbrenner, this was a lifetime ban imposed by Commissioner Fay Vinson, but it was lifted after 3 years. Although he disagreed with the decisions, Steinbrenner accepted the judgments of Commissioners Kuhn and Vinson and harbored no ill will toward anyone involved.
In neither case am I bitter. I realize that both men, both Fay and Bowie, did what they felt they had to do for the best interest of baseball at the time.
With the boss sidelined, the future of the team lay in the capable hands of general manager Gene Michael, and Stick sought to restore order to the franchise by hiring no-nonsense manager Buck Showalter. The change was immediate.
It really became psychodrama-free. It became about baseball, and it's as likable a group as you're ever going to find.
He did it! No-hitter for Jim Abbott! Gene Michael soaking in the moment. That's his acquisition.
Together, Stick and Buck looked to put players in pinstripes that were committed to restoring a winning tradition to the Yankees. At the top of this list were perennial all-stars Jimmy Key and Wade Boggs.
They said when I went to New York in '93 that I wouldn't hit, and I wound up with a .318 lifetime average at Yankee Stadium.
In addition to proven veterans, the Yankees also rebuilt from within with budding young talent like outfielder Bernie Williams.
Bernie had power potential, but wasn't physically developed yet. Finally, all of a sudden, boom, it clicked. He became a better center fielder, and he started juicing the ball more, and he caught on fire, and he had a lot of confidence after that.
Michael also made some shrewd trades for players who knew how to win, like when he dealt all-star outfielder Roberto Kelly to Cincinnati for Paul O'Neill.
I think I came in at the exact right time. I mean, I came in as soon as the team was starting to turn around to win.
In just his second American League season, Paul hit .359 and captured the batting title. He also helped lead the team to the league's best record. But more than anything, O'Neill and the Yankees wanted the chance to play for a World Series title. And that never materialized.
I think everybody was devastated because it was going to be their chance, and it went by the boards.
No one was more devastated than Captain Don Mattingly, who had labored his entire career simply to reach the playoffs.
I'd heard so much stuff played the most games without getting in the postseason, all that kind of stuff. It kind of puts a mark on you like you're the reason that they're not getting the postseason.
Well, in 1995, Donnie baseball finally made it.
Andy Knorr hits it to Fernandez. He goes to second, and the New York Yankees have won the first ever wild card.
Don Mattingly finally going to the postseason.
It feels worth it now. You know, everything that I've been through, our team's been through.
At first base, number 23, Don Mattingly.
The Yankees won the first game 9-6, and that set the stage for the beloved captain to make his postseason presence felt in Game 2.
This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Goodbye, home run. Don Mattingly.
But in this game, Mattingly wasn't the only Yankees player on target.
Series was one of the most intense series I've ever covered.
If it's any better than this, I don't know where you have to go.
Try the bottom of the 15th of a 5-5 game.
If ever a guy was due, it is Jim Leyritz.
I give him the green light.
Fly ball, right field. Maybe. It could be. Back at the wall. Goodbye, home run. The Yankees win. Jim Leyritz, a two-run homer in the 15th inning. Yankees win 7-5.
Back to Seattle limped the Mariners for Game 3. But though down and facing elimination, they were certainly not out. This incredible series came down to a deciding fifth game. Unfortunately for the Yankees, someone would have to lose.
Everything was great until the last inning of Game 5 in Seattle. Now I'll remember that one for a long time.
It was just a great learning experience, and I think it was just a great setting going into 96, you know, with a new hunger.
The Yankees began the 96 season with renewed vigor, having reestablished themselves as a playoff team. But there was change. Captain Don Mattingly had retired and was replaced by Tino Martinez. In addition, there was a new skipper steering the Yankees ship.
And announced today the new manager of the New York Yankees, Mr. Joe Torre.
The critics ripped the decision, for in 31 big league seasons, Torre had played in or managed more than 4,000 games and had never once reached the World Series.
People were wondering why George Steinbrenner would pick this loser to manage his New York Yankee ball club.
Nobody ever dreamed that Joe would be as great a manager as he has been.
96 was also Derek Jeter's first full year with the club, and he quickly got a taste of magic in the Bronx.
Makes the catch. A no-hitter for Dwight Gooden.
The Yankees would also discover a hidden gem.
I was a lone reliever at the time. As the year moved on, I started pitching well. So Torres decided to set a rule, and from that moment, I just take off.
Who's been better for this club than Mariano Rivera?
He became part of the formula in 96.
A formula, one part Rivera, one part closer John Wetland.
You have a lead. You hand it over to Rivera for the 7th and 8th. You hand it over to Wetland for the 9th.
If we had the lead in the 6th inning, the game was over. If we went into a game or into a series, you know, we just basically say, let's try to win 6 innings, and if we do that, we're going to come out on top.
Which they did 92 times to win their first divisional title since 1981. Then in the League Championship Series, Jeter got his first taste of the fabled Yankees mystique.
In right field. And what happens here? He contends that a fan reaches up and touches it.
I feel like just like something amazing has happened. It's unbelievable.
Calls go your way sometimes, other times they go against you. I mean, they call it a home run and helped us win a game.
Jeter comes across to tie the game.
If not for that home run, Baltimore might have gone back home to Camden Yards with a 2-0 lead.
Instead, the Yankees went on to win that series and earn their manager's first ever trip to the World Series and the Yankees' first appearance since 1981. The moment Torrey had been waiting for had finally arrived, and when the Braves dominated Game 1, the World Series rookie manager refused to panic.
I happened to say to George that night, I said, you know, George, I said, we might not even win tonight because Maddox is pitching for the Braves. I said, we'll go to Atlanta, we'll win 3 games there and come back and win it for you next Saturday. And I sort of walked out of the office, and he looked at me like I had 2 heads.
So the Yankees won the first game in Atlanta, then the next, thanks to Jim Leyritz in a stirring 6-run comeback.
In the air to left field. Back at the track at the wall. We are tied.
Andy Pettit dominated Game 5, and Paul O'Neill provided the defense for a 3-2 series lead.
What a play by Paul O'Neill to end it.
When the team returned to New York, it was clear those dark days of Yankees baseball were finally over.
Hayes waits. The Yankees are champions of baseball.
It was just very rewarding to see us just have the culmination of all our efforts.
This team represents New York because they don't quit.
We were fortunate. We had a great team. It was something that hadn't happened in New York in a very long time.
18 years to be exact, since the Yankees had last been champions. But it was no doubt extra special for Torrey, for this was his first.
Joe, I got a little cocktail for you, buddy.
The euphoria of the '96 season dissolved the following year, when the Yankees fell to the Cleveland Indians in the division series.
Congratulations to the Cleveland Indians back in the ALCS.
But it was just a painful memory when the 1998 campaign began. Boasted by several key additions, it became obvious early on that this season just might be special.
Swung on. He's going to get it. Popped up to right field. O'Neill near the line. He makes the catch. David Wells has pitched a perfect game.
The second perfect game in Yankees history was symbolic of a nearly perfect season, for the Yankees dominated start to finish and closed out the regular season with an incredible number of victories.
114 wins.
In the division series, they quickly dispatched the Texas Rangers with a tidy 3-game sweep. Now in the championship series, they had the chance to gain revenge on the Cleveland team that dethroned them 1 year prior, and they came out fighting.
Hit toward the hole. Jeter backhands from the outfield grass. Got him! Man, what a play!
It was during the ALCS that the Yankees encountered their first bit of adversity, dropping both games 2 and 3. But rookie Orlando Hernandez was outstanding and cooled off Cleveland's potent offense.
El Duque has been the man tonight. Huge strikeout for El Duque.
This game in the ACLS was huge. He's just shown such great poise out there.
It was just a matter of time before the Yankees got that revenge.
Ball game over. American League Championship Series over. Yankees win. Yankees win.
The Yankees were now just 4 wins away from perhaps the greatest season in Major League history. The San Diego Padres, led by Tony Gwynn, stood in their way. And they, too, got a taste of Yankees mystique.
Swung on a Joe deep to right. There it goes. The ball is gone. A grand slam into the upper deck for Tino Martinez.
Watching that grand slam go out of there and just watching the people go crazy. That's what I remember about the 1998 World Series.
Following an easy victory by the Yankees in Game 2, Scott Brocious sparked some late-inning drama in Game 3 when he faced Trevor Hoffman, the Padres' imposing closer and future Hall of Famer. With 1 out in the 8th, 2 men on, and the Yankees trailing 4-2.
Swung on and into the air to deep center. Finley back, away back, on the track, at the wall, gone! A 3-run home run for Scott Brocious.
It really struck me when I saw the emotion on his face. I mean, how could you not be pumped in the World Series in this type of situation? But that's one of the great performances in World Series history and Yankee World Series history.
It was only appropriate that the eventual series MVP would put the cap on the sweep.
Brocious, fittingly with a throw. The Yankees have done it again. They are the world champions of baseball in 1998.
Boy, if I had one word, it'd probably just be storybook.
In our lifetime, we will probably never see this again.
This team, as far as what it's accomplished, it's kind of mind-boggling.
Good vibrations continued in '99 as George Steinbrenner and Yogi Berra reconciled, ending Yogi's 14-year absence from the stadium. The addition of 5-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens to an already potent pitching staff was an equally promising turn of events. But then the team was stunned to learn that Joe Torre had prostate cancer. Fortunately, Joe made a remarkable recovery and inspired his men.
That was, I think, the moment for us to get focused, and Torre gave us that push that we needed.
And to prove that the Yankees' mystique was indeed intact, David Cone made a perfect case for déjà vu.
He popped him up. Brocious makes the catch. Ball game over. A perfect game for David Cone.
The Yankees were on track for 98 wins in '99, but to reach the World Series this time, they'd have to conquer a familiar foe. No sweat.
A home run. Bernie Williams.
The Yankees were back in the Fall Classic.
World Series bound yet again.
With Atlanta their foe, the stage was set to determine the team of the decade. The Yankees won the first 2 in Atlanta behind both solid pitching and timely hitting.
It'll be a 3-1. The pitch. Hit on the ground. Base hit right field. Curtis scores. Coming around third is Knobloch. The throw home is not in time. And in the 8th inning, the Yankees take a 3-1 lead.
When they returned to New York, the team was challenged once again. Different day, different hero, same result.
Swung on and drilled deep to left field. That could go. Williams back. Looking up. See ya. Oh, what a home run for Chad Curtis. The Yankees win the game 6-5. And they're 1 win away from baseball nirvana.
And when Mariano Rivera did his thing in Game 4, 100 years of unmatched success was assured.
The New York Yankees, world champions, team of the decade, most successful franchise of the century.
Next on Yankeeography.
Get your tokens ready.
Everything I heard or saw was the Subway Series.
You now direct your attention to Monument Park for the raising of the New York Yankees' 25th championship flag.
Fresh off their second straight World Series title, the Yankees had a tough time living up to their past success, winning just 87 games during the regular season.
It was pressure for a different reason. It was like trying to get something over with so we can get on with the postseason.
In the division series, the Yankees faced the upstart Oakland A's, who took them to uncharted territory, a decisive Game 5. There, the Yankees took an early lead, then found themselves in the more familiar position of moving on.
Martinez in back, and the New York Yankees march on to the American League Championship Series.
After splitting the first 2 games with Seattle in New York, the venue shifted to Safeco Field. It was there Roger Clemens earned his postseason pinstripes with a dominating performance.
16 in a row for Clemens. Overpowering performance.
It was an exciting game for him. You get locked in what you're doing. Really didn't matter who the hitter was that night.
It was the best pitching performance I've ever seen out of any pitcher.
This is one of the great performances in a Hall of Fame career.
Clemens had put the team back in stride and back in the Bronx. They put it away.
Swung on a drill deep to right field. There it goes. See ya! Into the upper deck. David Justice with a 3-run home run. And the Yankees have come all the way back. Get your tokens ready.
Now the stage is set for the Subway Series between the Yankees and Mets.
After 44 years, the Subway Series was back, and the fans were beside themselves.
Let's go Yankees! Let's go Mets!
I hate the Yankees as much as I like the Mets.
If you were in New York, you couldn't escape it. I mean, everything I heard or saw was the Subway Series.
The energy in the Big Apple was kinetic, but on the field, it was the Yankees who seemed a bit more energized.
Swung on a drill deep to left field, and it's off the top of the wall, fielded by Justice. He fires into Jeter. Perez is coming home. Here's the throw. He is out!
Despite their faux pas on the base paths, the Mets were just 2 outs away from a Game 1 triumph, but Paul O'Neill had a plan.
I was doing all I could just to keep the bat going until I could get it pitched to hit.
He never did get one, but drew a walk following a gutsy 10-pitch at bat, one that sparked a rally, for he eventually scored the tying run. Then came the 12th inning, and Jose Vizcaíno, still another in a long line of Yankees playoff heroes.
Vizcaíno, left field, base hit. Yankees win Game 1.
While the Mets simmered over Game 1, Roger Clemens brought Game 2 to a boil.
Broken bat foul ball off the right side, and the barrel of the bat came out to Clemens, and he picks it up and throws it back.
After both sides settled down, Clemens assumed complete command.
Oh, what a splitter. Hellacious.
Wow was the word of the day.
Scott Brocious with a towering home run.
Now the Yankees had a 2-game edge, but when the series moved to Queens, they suffered their first World Series loss since Game 2 of '96. Not to worry, as Jeter set the tone for Game 4 right from the start.
And Jeter swings. It's a high drive to left. It is high. It is far. It is gone.
And Derek knew full well the impact of his leadoff blast.
It's huge. They just beat us the night before, and 3-1 is a lot better than 2-2.
The Bronx Bombers were on the brink of their 3rd straight title. And in Game 5, Yankees' good luck charm Luis Sojo sought to extinguish any hope the Mets might have had.
Up the middle. Base hit. Here comes Posada. Throw to the plate. Hits the runner. Into the dugout. Brocious will score, and the Yankees lead 4-2.
With a 2-run lead, the Yankees turned to the man who had closed out their last 2 championships. But this one did have a moment of fear.
Gets into one to center. Back is Brian Williams. A 3-peat.
An incredible moment during which the players honored the man who had led them to the top 4 of the past 5 years.
To have them come together to feel that way about their manager got me choked up.
It was just amazing, the fact that we have been able to have this much success year after year after year.
You need to...
After 3 straight world championships, the 2001 Yankees added crafty veteran Mike Messina, and rising young star Alfonso Soriano became the full-time second baseman to complement their all-star core. But Roger Clemens would stand above the rest with a record-breaking season.
He is the top strikeout pitcher in the history of the American League.
But it was just the beginning for the Rocket.
Swung on a miss, he struck him out.
His consistency was incredible.
Every start, he kept the Yankees in the game, giving up 3 runs or less, lasting 6 or more innings, start after start after start.
first pitcher in history to go 20-1.
In 2001, all of that work came to fruition. There he was, 20-1. I mean, it was just an amazing year.
Sadly, though, the 2001 season would be best remembered for the tragedy of 9/11. The Yankees became symbols of strength, of recovery, a means to help ease the city's pain.
In a way, I never realized how much of an influence I have on people around me and people that know about the Yankees.
I guess it's a blessing to be able to bring smiles to some people's faces just because of who you are or what you do. Just to go over and shake those guys' hands and maybe put a smile on their face. It's just great to be able to do it and to be able to help out.
The support and everything that the city has gotten from the Yankee players themselves and the people of New York, it's just it's a great feeling. I think it's great for the city if the Yankees do pull it off, hopefully.
But the road to the World Series would be daunting for the red-hot Oakland A's, who almost beat the Yankees in 2000, won the first 2 division series games in New York.
No team has come back in a 5-game series down 2-0 with the first 2 losses at home.
The only way this series is over if it's a 2 out of 3. It's a 3 out of 5, and they haven't won 3 games yet.
Then the Yankees' fortunes turned on an incredible play by a perennial postseason hero.
Giambi on his way to third, and they're going to wave him around. The throw misses a cutoff man, shot to the plate, out of the plate. Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop.
I saw the throw was going over both Soriano and Tino's head, and I just tried to get it and get rid of it as quick as possible, but Jorge deserves a lot of credit for the tag he made.
After that, I just thought, somehow we're going to win this game. We're going to have to win this game now because we just got the play of the year.
It was unbelievable, and at that point in time, realized that, we have to win now.
They did win Game 4, and the series moved back to New York, where the Yankees would not be denied. Once again, Jeter's defense took center stage.
Popped up, third base side. Brocious and Jeter both over. Jeter, did he get it? Did he get it? Did he get it? He got it! He got it! Unbelievable, this guy.
We never give up. That's what the Yankees are doing. That's what the people in New York City are doing. It's amazing the way we keep coming back and we don't give up.
The Yankees will defend their title.
The New York Yankees have risen from the dead, and coming from a 2-0 deficit, this is the most emotional demonstration since the Yankees beat Atlanta in '96.
Following the historic comeback, even the Seattle Mariners, who won an American League record of 116 games, had to think the Yankees' mystique might be too much to overcome.
And Deal swung on, hit high in the air to deep right center field. Back goes Ichiro on the track at the wall. She's gone! Alfonso Soriano wins the game with a 2-run home run. The Yankees win 3-1, and they take a 3-1 lead in the American League Championship Series.
I'm never, ever going to forget that moment, because that home run in the 9th inning won the game. It was very special for me because it helped lift the team's spirits.
It was a sign of things to come, for another pennant was just a formality.
2 outs. Top of the 9th. Yankees lead 12-3. Rivera, Deal swung on and line to right. Charging is Spencer. He makes the catch. Ball game over. American League Championship Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
And in a couple of days, they'll head to Arizona, where they'll take on the Arizona Diamondbacks and try to win their 4th straight World Series.
It was the 37th Fall Classic for the New York Yankees, just the first for Arizona. But the Diamondbacks quickly shed their rookie role when a pair of 20-game winners put New York in a deep hole.
Diamondbacks winning. They're up 2-0.
A disheartened Yankees team made its way back to a city seeking to rise from its own despair. There, before Game 3, came a visit that stirred the heart.
It was an incredible show of support for getting back to normal by the president. He certainly showed the courage that we all have to exhibit now to get back to our everyday living.
So the Yankees turned to their own pillar of strength, and 20-game winner Roger Clemens delivered 7 strong innings. A perfect finish by Rivera gave New York the win it so desperately needed. In Game 4, the Yankees continued to feed off the aura of their city and the hallowed Bronx grounds that wily veterans had come to fear.
Crazy things happen in a full moon.
Like when you're trailing by 2 in the 9th, facing Arizona's bullpen ace with Tino Martinez at the plate, 2 out and a runner on base.
Fly ball center field. It is way back at the wall. Goodbye. Home run. Tino Martinez.
And the Yankees on the precipice of defeat tie the game at 3.
On to November. The Yankees already had a Mr. October in Reggie Jackson. Was a new title awaiting Derek Jeter?
3-2 pitch. Swung on a drill to right field. Going back Sanders on the track at the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya!
I've never hit a walk-off home run before. You dream of when you're a kid to hit a home run in a key situation in the World Series, and to get an opportunity to do that is pretty overwhelming. You can't really put into words what the feeling is like.
With the series now knotted at 2 games apiece, what could Game 5 do for an encore? How about same inning, same lead, same closer, 2 outs and a runner on base, this time for Scott Brocious.
That one hit in the air to left field. Do you believe it? Goodbye, home run. They have done it again. This game is tied.
I don't believe it. Deja vu. A 2-out, game-time 2-run home run by Scott Brocious. Probably the most unbelievable feat in World Series history.
When that ball left the bat, I said, you know, Groundhog Day, here we go again.
It's being a little kid again. That's all it is. You're filled with so much excitement and adrenaline, especially on the heels of the night before. Just going around the bases going, wow, you know, no way did this happen again, and we still have a chance to win the game now.
With a score tied in the 12th, the Yankees went in search of still another hero. At the plate, a rookie, Alfonso Soriano, just now getting a taste of Yankees mystique.
He gets up there and takes a pitch the other way.
Into right field base hit. Here comes Knobloch.
Here's the throw. Here's the play at the plate.
Yankees win. They lead the series 3 games to 2. They've done it again. Unbelievable.
Oh, my! Another miracle in the Bronx.
These last 2 games defy description.
It was a bittersweet victory for Paul O'Neill, having played his final game in the Bronx.
Hey, boy, bro.
A crowd favorite for 9 years, he got the ultimate send-off.
Words to really describe how you feel as a player. I mean, everybody wants to be accepted and liked, and to see that in that atmosphere, it was unbelievable to me. It really was.
Paul O'Neill at first doesn't like to show his emotions, but he was very touched, and it took him until he got to the dugout to doff his cap.
I can't say anything bad about New York. The people have been great to me here, and I just hope that I can be a part or do something to win one more game, and we can look back at a wonderful season.
But any momentum the Yankees had was lost on the long flight back to Arizona, where the Diamondbacks simply dominated.
And 6 belongs to Arizona, forcing Game 7 tomorrow night.
It was time for the ultimate test. 1 game stood between the Yankees and their 4th consecutive title, and with the score tied in the 8th, it looked like they might get it.
The Yankees with yet another reason to
The sight of Soriano rounding the bases looked to be the coronating moment of the Yankees' fourth straight title. But Arizona would flip the script and stun the reigning world champs.
If you suffer from muscle cramps in your
The 2002 season marked the Yankees' 100th in New York. That club went on to post a 103-58 record, but in a disappointing ALDS, lost in 4 games to the eventual world champion Anaheim Angels. The Yankees again won the East in 2003 and would battle their arch rivals from Boston in a classic ALCS, climaxed by a dramatic 7th game comeback and some extra inning heroics.
I said to Aaron before he went up, just think about hitting a single to right field. And it doesn't mean you're not going to hit a home run.
Hits it to deep left.
And the Yankees are going to the World Series!
I got an opportunity to get up there with the game on the line and was fortunate to run into one, and probably the greatest thrill of my life.
After beating the Red Sox in that exciting 7th game and advancing to the World Series for the 6th time in 8 years, the heavily favored Yankees ran out of gas and were beaten in 6 games by the National League pennant-winning Florida Marlins in the 2003 World Series. However, despite the loss, the Yankees' tradition of greatness remains unequal. A tradition made possible by an unmatched legacy of heroes and perhaps the greatest franchise of all time.
We're winners. It's just an unbelievable feeling to be able to say that you play for a winning organization.
The New York Yankees, most successful franchise of the century.
It's a title the Yankees do not take lightly, a tribute to an unwavering focus and a quest for success.
Team of the century. There's no other team in any other sport that can say that.
Not the Montreal Canadiens, not the Boston Celtics. For in this case, the numbers and the images truly do speak for themselves.
The New York Yankees, professional sports' most storied, gloried franchise. Oh, man, it doesn't get better than this.
When the first 100 years of the American League came to a close, the Yankees were acknowledged as the baseball team of the century. The fact is, they were the team of the century in any sport. With most of the team remaining after the 2003 World Series loss, and a game plan refined and focused by so many years of success, the expectation was to replicate and exceed those championships in the next century. For the Yes Network, I'm John Sterling, and thanks for watching Yankeeography.